What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update to Sacred Yubel. That's right, you lot smashed the like button on the previous updated Yubel profile and the Sacred Beast individual profile way above 50 likes per video. So I thought I'd bring you the combination that you've been asking for, and that is utilising the GX era Sacred Beast cards with of course Yubel and including the brand new support we get from Legacy of Destruction. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Now I decided to take a bit of a different strategy with this one. It's probably more focused on Yubel than it is the Sacred Beast, but the Sacred Beast is still in there to give you the aggressive outcome that you might need if your opponent tries to play defensively. I'll explain what we've got and talk you through why we've chosen to go with it, but then if you do have any questions at all, by all means please put them in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. So we'll start off with the Sacred Beast. Of course, we do have the one Hamon, Raviel, and of course Uriah. We're pretty much playing all of these at least one. Even in a normal Sacred Beast deck, the only one you'd play at more than one is Hamon, just to provide you with that attack lock. But you've got to be a little bit careful on this one because technically you want your opponent to attack your Yubel. So when you do have a Hamon on the board in defense, they can't attack your Yubel, and you're kind of creating a contradiction within the game state because you play a card that says they must attack Yubel, and then you're playing a card that says you can't attack anything bar Hamon. So your opponent just can't attack in general. And then that means you're not going to get your damage con. So you need to be a little bit careful, which is why we're only playing one of each, just so we can fulfill the fusion plays as well. For the rest of the Sacred Beast cards, of course, we are playing 2 Chaos Summoning Beast, and then 1 Dark Summoning Beast, and the 1 Phantasmal Summoning Beast. So the idea is, behind all of these, they're your access to get to your Hamons, to get to your Uriahs and your Raviels, as well as getting to the Forbidden Paradise to give you your draw capabilities. The idea is that you want to be using the brand new Nightmare Throne first, because that can technically search you out any of your Sacred Beast monsters as well, and then you want to replace that with the Forbidden Paradise so you can draw 2 cards. Now, the one that does bridge everything together, because it's the one that you will see in Yubel decks and, of course, Sacred Beast decks, is the Dark Beckoning Beast. And the reason this is so good is because it gives you an additional normal summon of a Fiend 0/0, which, of course, Samsara D Lotus is. And it also gives you direct access to opening of the Spirit Gates, which I have cut down to 2 in this particular version. Now, arguably, you can play this at 3 if you want to, because, again, it still allows you to add Uriah, Hamon, or Raviel, or a Fiend monster, so it has a lot more targets than in just a normal Yubel build. Yubel build? Yubel build. A bit of a tongue twister there. But the idea behind cutting this down to 2 is because I'm not always wanting this to search me out Uriah, Hamon, or Raviel. It would be one of them ones that, again, I want to go Dark Beckoning, get into this, and then activate it to search me out one of the missing pieces that I may need, because then that's what I'm going to want to utilise the most of. So the idea is the Yubel Nightmare Throne will get you to Dark Beckoning Beast. The Dark Beckoning Beast then unlocks the rest of your plays for your Sacred Beast engine. It then comes down to you as to whether or not you want to go down the Sacred Beast route, the Yubel route, or you want to go down with the combination of the 2 of them, and that's when you're going to ultimately use Dark Beckoning, get opening, use the additional normal summon off of the Dark Beckoning for your Samsara D Lotus, and off of Dark Beckoning or opening of the gates, the card you're going to be searching out, rather than searching out a second Dark Beckoning Beast, is you're going to want to be searching out a Beckoning Beast that can be summoned down or that can be utilised from the graveyard, because you'll use that as the discard fodder to then search you out Uriah, Hamon, Fallen Paradise, you name it. The other Sacred Beast cards we are playing is the 1 Cerulean Skyfire. This is probably the best and most effective one of the back rows in comparison with the Awakening of the Sacred Beasts. Like, being able to set this up and this up is pretty much overkill. This just gives you a nice little bit of an additional negate for a spell that your opponent activates, spell or trap, sorry. So it can also give you protection from Evenly Matched, which is one of the biggest cards that Yubel will struggle against, unless they give your opponent the Grinder Golem. The Awakening of the Sacred Beast is just a one-sided skill drain, which is really nice if you get 2 Sacred Beasts on the board. It can be a little bit of a contradiction, like I've already said. The Sacred Beasts are just big boss monsters that want to get to a 10k attack monster during your turn only, but also want to defend themselves during your opponent's turn. Whereas Yubel is like, okay, well, I actually want my opponent to attack me because they're going to take all of the damage. So you do need to be a little bit careful when you're mixing these 2 strategies together, but the idea is that you've got the balance of being able to go either down one route or the other, or mixing the 2 together. Then, of course, we've got the 1 Dimension Fusion Destruction, obviously very easily searchable thanks to the brand new card, or the most recent card for the Sacred Beast in the form of the Phantasmal, because this will allow you to banish it from the graveyard to search this out, and that's why you want to try and get access to your Uriah, Hamon, or Raviel as quickly as you possibly can, because the idea is, when you're trying to summon out on a defensive route to clear your opponent's board, go in second the Phantom of Fury, or if you want to go in for an OTK push, you're going to go for the Armor Tile. Then of course we've got the Fallen Paradise and we've got the one Foolish Burial, which again is another bridge between the two of them. More times than not you use Foolish Burial to send one of your Sacred Beasts that you might be needing, or of course one of the Chaos Summoning Beasts to the graveyard to then be banished to search you out a piece you might want. Like I said, Fallen Paradise, you could, if you wanted to, technically play set rotation in this one. The idea is that you want to be activating your throne first, search out the piece you need to, and then activate Fallen Paradise. And this is a lot easier searchable than the Nightmare Throne. Moving on to the Yubel cards, we'll go with the main starter for Yubel being the Samsara D Lotus, and then the main card that's going to get you your win con of Yubel being the Nightmare Pain, and that is of course your triple Spirit of Yubel. In this version, we're only playing one Yubel and one Yubel Terra Incarnate. You could play Unending Nightmare if you wanted to as well, but the idea is you actually want to be utilising Yubel as either the float material, or you're going to be utilising it as another level 10 material that can be utilised with the other Sacred Beast in order to get you to your Omni Negate of the Dracolog, which is the brand new card that comes out in Legacy of Destruction, and unfortunately is a secret rare, but I do expect this to be a little bit easier to pick up once the hype dies down. Another one of the new cards we're playing is on testing out the one Infernal Grave Scrimmer in this version as a one-of. And the reason we're playing it in this as a one-of is we are not playing the Unchained engine because we want to be focusing on the Sacred Beast from the extra deck rather than utilising the Unchained engine. I wanted to try and give a bit more of a balance and not just be like, okay, this is Yubel with a Sacred Beast engine chucked in. I wanted to show you that the synergy between the two does work. So with your Infernal Grave Scrimmer, the best thing about this is it allows you to bring back any Fiend monsters from the graveyard with 0/0. So this will also allow you to cheat out your Phantasm Summoning Beast, or of course your Dark Beckoning Beast, or ideally, wherever it may be, your Dark Summoning Beast. So if you get this via Foolish Burial, whether you discard it off of the effect, as long as you have access to your Infernal Grave Scrimmer, you can banish it from the graveyard, bring it back to the board, and then you can use this on-board effect without needing to utilise the additional normal summon off of the back of your Dark Beckoning, which means you can save it for something like Samsara D Lotus instead. Then of course your main win con for Yubel is Triple Nightmare Pain. You could play it too if you want to, but you want your consistency to be as much as possible. And then of course we do have 3 of the brand new card in the form of the Nightmare Throne, with of course Terraforming to search it out. So for those of you that are new to the Yubel deck, annoyingly, this one refers to Yubel as the monsters of Yubel. So obviously you've got Yubel, Spirit of Yubel, so on and so forth. Whereas all of the cards that search out Nightmare Pain and everything else refer to a card that lists and refers to specifically Yubel as the individual monster. So you can't search out Nightmare Throne, but you can search out Nightmare Pain. And then of course we've got 1/1-for-1. This can work for the Chaos Beast, but mainly you're going to want to use it for your Samsara D Lotus. Corp of the Grave, just pretty generic as a protection. Eternal Favourite, just balanced everything out for your Yubels. And then of course your Triple Super Poly as your ideal board breaker for this deck. Yes, you can technically utilise it if you do have 3 level 10s on the board to go into your Phantasm monster, but you're probably going to be using it more so to break your opponent's board or use it with your Yubel to pretty much rip everything apart that they need. So speaking of which, moving on to the extra deck. So this should be an exact 40 card deck. I have taken out some cards at the last minute, so if there's anything a little bit off, just let me know. It could very well be Mature Chronicle. I've chosen not to main deck this for the pure fact that you're not going to be looping your Yubels around as consistently as you would do, because you're not going to be utilising the Unchained engine, which helps you get technically a route of 2 to 3 Yubels, if not more, throughout its loop. And because we're not doing that, you don't need to rely on stacking counters on top of that card. Onto the extra deck, so your 3 Phantasm cards that you can summon are, of course, the 1 Phantom of Fury, the Chaos Phantom, and of course the Phantasm Emperor. Now this one you play because it just requires 3 level 10s, so you can actually utilise your other Yubel cards in the graveyard. So this can be a really kind of cool card to summon off the Dimension Fusion, because it lets you summon out a Phantasm monster, and because you're playing with 3 level 10s, including your Yubel monsters, it's a little bit more generic and easier to make. This one is your go second, 10k during your turn, swing into your opponent and pretty much one-shot them. And this is if you need to clear the board after baiting everything out. You make this, give it to your opponent, it banishes your opponent's entire board, and then it cheeses this out as well. Then for your Super Poly targets, of course, you've got your Garura and your Mud Dragon, alongside, of course, your 2 Yubel, the Loving Defenders. Whether you are going to be utilising this at 2 or 1, I personally feel that 2 is more than enough. Definitely don't think you need 3 in this build. You've got the generic board breakers off of the back of your Super Poly if you're not able to get a Yubel monster to the board, and then you've got your one that completely wrecks your opponent's entire board when you do get Yubel. For the rank 10s, of course, we've got the 1 Valdrath, the 1 Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max, so burn in time, or of course burn to finish off an OTK should you need it. But then of course you do have the Valdrath, which is basically the brand new Omni Negate. So for those of you unfamiliar with this card, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you get a quick effect to detach 1 material from this card, negate the activation, and then you can detach 1 material from this card to destroy 1 card on the field. It can be made with more than just 2 level 10s, so if you wanted to stack it up, you can do. At the start of the damage step, if this card with materials attacks, you get to destroy one card on the field. If this XYZ summon card is destroyed, you get to destroy one card on the field. So it's basically like an Unchained Abomination, just in XYZ form, and a bit of a Baron because it has that nice Omni negate. Then we're just playing a raft of generic Link monsters. So you've got the Almirage, which is basically turn your Dark Beckoning Beast into Almirage, to then, if you've opened up a discard, you discard it to bring back said Dark Beckoning Beast that you've just linked off, and that can then get you access into your SP Little Knight if you want it to, or the idea is you just need to get a monster to the graveyard because let's say your opponent's impermed your Dark Beckoning, you get into the Almirage, you then discard a card which can be a Yubel, Spirit of Yubel, or anything like that, and then because Gates doesn't target to revive, it can then bring back the Spirit of Yubel, which is really important. And then, of course, we've got the one Relinquish Animal as the aggressive Link one. You can go for Link Karibo if you want to. And then, in order to get into your SP Little Knight, because we're not using Unchained, we are using IP. You've also got Dart the Dark Charmer and then Muckcracker as well. So the idea behind Muckcracker is it just brings back any of your Fiend monsters. It doesn't mind that you Fiend lock yourself. The only thing you can't do is you can't go into your Valdraft because it is a worm, unfortunately. But the idea is that when you're activating your Muckcracker to Fiend lock yourself, you're making sure you're bringing back a card that is going to be effective enough for you to make sure it's worthwhile. Or you're just discarding a card to the graveyard that can then be utilised with Eternal Favourite or just any other card that revives from the graveyard as well. So that's it for the entire main deck and of course the extra deck. Like I said, this is pretty much a concept. It's not going to be utilised. I feel like if you want to take this to the most competitive environment possible, you're better off just playing pure Sacred Beast or you're better off just playing pure Yubel because it actually then frees up a lot more space in your deck in order to utilise hand traps. The only thing that crosses over between both decks, in my opinion, from the new support will be the Nightmare Throne, just because this can technically add you your Dark Beckoning Beast, so it gives you more consistency without needing to play pure Rizzy map. And then the card that currently exists that bounces between both is the Dark Beckoning Beast with the opening of the Spirit Gates, because that's the card that can be utilised for Yubel in order to cheese you out a Yubel monster as well. Really, really kind of cool deck, but like I said, it's just a concept. I would take this to locals and you have a bit of fun with it, but I feel that the more support we get for Yubel, the better Yubel gets standing on its own. So now we're past the point of, okay, well, the Sacred Beast could have actually aided Yubel. We're now at the point where it doesn't need it anymore. So you can now play either or, but you do get the synergy of playing both together if you really want to, and you wanted to go for something like that is massively GX themed, because Yubel does actually use the Sacred Beast in one of the later episodes as well, which is really kind of cool. Just if you go, okay, well, we're going to an anime style duel, which sometimes the local environments will put on. A lot of people will build a Yugi deck, a Kaiba deck. You can technically build an actual Yubel deck and still do incredibly well, which is really, really fun. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Like I said at the start of the video, if you do have any questions at all, by all means, just let me know in the comments down below. I will be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.